Welcome to Anime Watch. I popped in for no official reason. I'm your host, SACOVI, and today we have another anime to talk about. Hey, just try to kill me. Welcome to Anime Watch. I'm SACOVI, the host of Anime Watch. Alright, let me just jump right into this. The anime for today is Avenger. Not Avengers, not Avenger, Avenger. Just Avenger. No S on the end. Now, Avenger isn't a great anime. I'll just get that out of the way right now. The characters of Avenger are Layla Ashley, who is the main character, the protagonist, I guess. And then you have Nay, which is a doll, but it's not really a doll. And then you have Speedy, who is a doll breeder. The characters are pretty much forgettable, except for Speedy. If Speedy wasn't in it, this anime wouldn't be worth watching at all. Speedy is the best character in the show out of the three because he's the only one worth even a little bit. Layla Ashley only has like 3 expressions and she doesn't really talk throughout the whole series. All she does is fight and walk. That's it. The whole series is her fighting and walking. She only says something in like 3 episodes. And most of the time she doesn't say anything. Almost all of her scenes are just her face making an expression. And it would be okay if she made expressions, but she doesn't. All she does the entirety of this series is this. Try to kill me. And it's kind of like she has a vendetta or, going to get revenge, hence the name Avenger. But it's not so much that in a sense. And they don't really coherently say what's really going on in the story. And I say that because the story of Avenger is apparently, I'm assuming because they never just discreetly say it, but the Barbaroi is what she is people who live outside of the domes on Mars. Let me throw that in there. But they're living on Mars. So apparently they left Earth and some people were like, no. And then some people were like, yeah, we're leaving. And they went to Mars. And then people left from Earth and went to the moon. And then they were trying to come to Mars too. And the people on Mars that had settled there were like, no. And blew up the ship. And Layla was saved from that ship that blew up. And ever since that, she held like a grudge against the guy who said it. But then there's some other stuff going on and the story's just not put together well. So you're watching it like, what the? And you never understand hardly anything. You understand what they're saying, but it just doesn't make enough sense. So it's like you need some more to own it, but they never give it to you. People can't have kids. Don't know why. They never explain it. They never say what happened. They just say people can't have kids. Why can't they have kids? And so there's all these dolls. People have dolls now to kind of replace kids. And that's where Nay comes in. It's not really spoiling anything because Nay doesn't have anything to do with the story other than the fact people can't have kids and she was born within the last 10 years. And people haven't been able to have kids in over 10 years. So the first child born on Mars or something. And so she's going around pretending to be a doll and just in the trash can. Upon incident, she bumps into Layla and they never say how they got together. I guess Layla realized it was a kid and that was that. And on to Nay, like the only thing Nay did in the story was get sick and go through puberty or something. And then at the end of it, I'll give this away. She just starts glowing or something, like at random parts. Like she gets sick and starts glowing. And then at the end, it's nothing to do with the story. I mean, it can't hurt the story. At the end, she's gold hair, both her eyes are different color. At the very end, it ends with her hair turning red, her eyes turning one solid color, and all they say is, she matured as a woman, or she's reached sexual age or something. What? That doesn't make no sense. She reached sexual age? That makes no sense. Like, you mean to tell me she got sick for like 2 episodes, and then it was like, oh yeah, she was just sick. and her hair changed colors and her eyes changed colors, and she looks a little bit different now. Her hair grew a little bit more because, you know, women, when they go through that sexual maturity phase, then, you know, they change a lot. Yep. No sense at all. And I was just boggling because I was like, this show is kind of boring. And the story is just like not well put together. What does that have to do with her being a savior or whatever? Nothing. Then all the main players in the story died, so everybody who would be helping people, they all died. And there was water, and the moon was. It was just, the story was like jumbled together. Nothing was told well, but I didn't hate it as much as I hate like Sci-Fi Harry or Lady Death. It wasn't nowhere near that bad. It's watchable. Avenger is watchable. It's just not something you're going to remember. Like, I wouldn't watch it again, but I have watched a few episodes before. So it's not something I just throw away, but it's just something I wouldn't come back to. And I go on to the music. The music for this, whoever composed it, I don't think they did a good job. Basically, the composition of this series doesn't fit with the scene. Like, there's scenes where somebody's just sitting there and they have the like some dramatic music coming in, and then there's other parts where somebody's, you know, like fighting, and the music just doesn't fit. Like, if you watch it, and for the music, the music composition, it's terribly done. I can honestly, the music does not fit the series. Even the intro doesn't fit this type of series. And then after the music, it's mainly like a story, but not a well-told story. So it needs to be more of an action anime. It would work if it was just, hey, okay, this story is stupid, the story is boring, but hey, we got good fights. But even their fights are boring. And then the way she fights it's always the same thing. She's losing a little bit, then she says, try to kill me, and then all of a sudden she wins. Every fight, same thing. And that gets tired after a while. You're watching it like, do something else. Come up with a new game plan. I'm tired of watching the same thing over and over again. But yeah, this series just wasn't well put together. The music wasn't that good. The story wasn't that good. The animation was all right. There's nothing to brag about. But it's just overall, eh. Are you bored? I'm gonna be bored. Maybe. Let me jump back through the story so you don't just be like, what? He just was talking about a character and then he was talking about the end. That's because that's all that really matters. The middle meat and potatoes of this anime is forgettable. There's a dude, there's a woman. They live a long time because they get in a tank or something. What else is it? Layla goes around fighting for no real reason. Speedy's just following her because he's tag along. And then Nay's following, going with him because nobody wants her. But the people who she's fighting against aren't really bad people. What he's doing is for Mars. He wants to, he's trying to protect the people of Mars. So in his head, everything he's doing to protect the people of Mars. What she's doing isn't to protect anybody. So technically, the person who's more of the bad guy will actually be the main character if you're just going off what they're doing. But then to get into that will bore you all, and I don't feel like taking a nap right now. Now I'm going to go and get on to the animation. The art style is, it looks 90s. I don't know when this was made, but, it's fine. It's passable. It's nothing to be like, oh man, that was amazing. But one thing that isn't passable is not passable to me at all. The fight scene choreography, or the fight scene animation, is just as boring as the rest of the anime. So you're just watching like, okay, it's boring. It's not got no real story. Let me see what this is like. Nothing there. So you're going to watch that. And even the fight scenes aren't put together that well. So that was very disappointing to me. It's just, I don't know what they were thinking with the fight scene. And I watched the first one and was like, And then she said that line. The line she always says every fight before she starts winning. Just try to kill me. Like, really? That's your tagline? just try to kill me. I never understood it. I mean, I understood it because just try to kill me. I mean, it's right in your face. You can't misinterpret it. But I never understood why she had to say that in order to be able to win. Because she had to say it, then she could beat the person all of a sudden. And I was, but the fight scenes were so boring. It's not like she did nothing amazing. She just started winning, and then you're looking like, even what she's doing, I'm bored watching this. And I've never been really bored watching a fight scene, even in the worst of anime. There was entirely too many close-ups in this series. Like close-ups for no reason, just close-up. And then the next person, close-up. And then back to the other person, close-up. And the worst part about it is half the time they're doing the close-ups, nobody's talking. And with all these close-ups in it, they also had scenes that drug on too much. Like the anime was already kind of boring and just dragging on. They had scenes that drug on. They had dialogues that were unnecessary. And like the fight scenes were boring. So it was just a whole bunch of mediocrity in the series that made the series so uninteresting. I'll give you an example. There was a scene where a guy was walking. They call him Cross. He was walking, and they just kept looping the same walking animation over and over. So he wasn't moving forward any. It was just him walking in place. But then they show him walking in place. Then they go to a scene with like showing his thighs, how they're moving when he's walking. Then they go walking in place. And this went on for like, I think, a few minutes. Nothing's happening. Him walking. It seems like they didn't have enough story in most of it, so they just filled it with either someone just standing, someone walking entirely too long, someone just looking at something entirely too long, a dialogue that ended, and then they're just standing there entirely too long, just flopping back and forth between random, nonsensical, boring bull. And for that, I was truly disappointed, because even with the story, even with the characters, you could have salvaged it if you condensed all the crap. And you could have just did like maybe 6 episodes, jammed a lot of that in those 6 episodes, or kept it the same, increased the fights. So even if the rest of it was mediocre, you could be like, oh, that series was the good fight scenes. But no, everything in this series was mediocre and boring. Mediocre, boring. If you want to see it, check it out. If you don't see it, you didn't miss anything. Makes you want to take a nap.